Today we'll test the kit lens from Sony against the priced and well-known Sigma 16mm f1.4. Many people say that kit lenses are garbage and you should sell them right away and invest into some higher quality glass. Honestly, I'm not totally convinced of that. Kit lenses are very universal in terms of the zoom range, have decent aperture, and speaking of the Sony 16-50mm f3.5 to 5.6, it's also small, light, and has optical stabilization and good autofocus. Of course, it's by no means perfect in all terms, so the purpose of this comparison is to show you the advantages and the disadvantages of both, so you can decide which one suits your needs the best. Firstly, let's quickly go through the build quality of both. On the exterior, Sony 16-50mm lens is mostly made of metal. Its zoom is motorized. Sigma is probably made of combination of plastic and metal. That said, the latter feels much more solid and sturdy. What I like more about the kit lens though is that it is much smaller and lighter. It weighs 116 grams versus 405 grams Sigma. Sony also features so-called steady shot, meaning it has optical stabilization, which Sigma lacks. The only thing that will help you get steadier shots with the Sigma is its heavy weight. In terms of the image quality, in this picture you can see the Sigma's superiority in sharpness. There is clearly more information of this wood texture when we go into the crop. And here's the same picture shot at wide open. Notice the fantastic bokeh you get with that f1.4 aperture. The thing about most shots is that you won't really see much difference until you zoom in. Once again, clear difference in sharpness in favor of the Sigma. I wouldn't criticize Sony that much though, since it did a decent job. There is still a decent amount of detail. And those guitar strings also came out looking better on the Sigma. More details are in sharpness. Anyway, there are times when the difference is not really significant. Like here, in this rose flower picture. Same shutter speed, f4 on both, and you get the idea that it's still possible to get some worthy shots from the kit lens. In this picture of the Queens, once again Sigma performs better when it comes to the overall sharpness, and especially notice the edge distortion on the bottom in the Sony's picture. Now let's take a closer look at the edge sharpness. Sigma appears to have very good sharpness in the center area. That area is definitely more narrow in the Sony. Taking a look at the edges show the weakness of the kit lens in comparison to the Sigma. Having said that, I believe many people will probably be fine with that and it won't be a big deal. Another interesting subject is the light reflection. I've always hated the flare when shooting videos with the Sony 16-50mm, and I thought that it was a big downside. On the Sigma, in comparison, reflection is just beautiful and very cinematic. It's just a whole other story. As for the videography, of course, camera guards are the most important thing, but it doesn't change the fact that lens is still pretty important. You will experience the same difference found in the picture quality. That additional boost in sharpness provided by the Sigma is very welcome from my perspective, especially when shooting in 4K, like in those clips. Worse sharpness and distortion at the edges in the Sony can definitely be disturbing and even unacceptable for some. And no, I didn't forget that f1.4 aperture is just a miracle for videographers. It's obviously very useful in low light to shoot with lower ISO and in daytime to have that fantastic bokeh. To sum up, after watching this comparison, you will get the idea which lens offers the best image and video quality. Obviously the Sigma 16mm, but I wouldn't describe the kit lens as a garbage. It has its place for sure. You can get very good results, sometimes almost as good as from the Sigma. Additionally, it's more compact and has a nice zoom range and stabilization. And the most important thing, kit lenses are the only ones that are not overpriced. I paid like less than 100 bucks for this Sony and it's just crazy how much you get for the money. That's why so many people stick to that included lens. I'm not saying it's the decision you should make, but we definitely need more low-cost options. Despite the fact that this Sigma is considered to be one of the more budget-friendly alternatives on the market, it still costs more than, for example, Sony A6000's mirrorless camera. Sadly, it will be just out of reach for many people. It's a start though, and I hope that lens manufacturers will realize eventually that paying more money than the cost of the camera itself for a piece of fixed focal length glass is just far-fetched in my opinion. Check out my other videos if you want and tell me what do you think about this comparison and the kit lens in the comments. See you in the next one. Peace.